All right, everyone, welcome back to Central Coast Disc Golf. This is the 2023 Mid-America Open in the scorching hot Columbia, Missouri. I'm your host, Nate Perkins, and I'm here with Connor O'Reilly. Connor, this isn't the hottest that this tournament's ever been.
While it may be sweltering currently, last year was actually a couple degrees warmer. I remember playing in sweatbands, having sweat just flying off my hands on every shot. And we start with an incredible par 5 here at Harmony Bends. Hole 1 is 833 feet, not the longest par 5, but there is a bit of a kind of gap and some branches creating a low-ish ceiling on this first shot. You really got to hit a hard distance driver to try to clear this out-of-bounds creek right here to be in the ideal position. You can birdie from short of the creek if you choose to. It just makes that second shot have a lot more onus on it. A lot of players...
Drone taking a right turn over here.
Not many players take this spot unless they find themselves more right off the tee than they intend to be. But most guys going forehand or kind of straight backhand on that second shot, lining up something in the range of 200 feet or less to chip up to this green that has a cliff on the short side, so do not come up short.
Yeah, and all the creeks here are all marked with a little faint white line. You could barely see it from the tee pad, but...
Let's see if that faintness comes into play, Nate. Looks like Orbit Rive out of Hebenheimer.
And this is Jake's hometown, so the community, they love this guy, and they're cheering him on all year. And this tournament's a big deal for both Jake and all of his fans here.
Oh, little local love there for Jake on hole 1. He was looking like he might be flipping into the river there.
Missouri, Andrew Presnell.
Right, another cat from Missouri, Andrew Presnell, also has a lot of fans in the area.
Yeah, Jake, well known for his explosive throwing and variety of shots. Andrew, just a backhand specialist, really good at hitting gaps.
Really throws his whole body into the disc, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He does a better job than most players keeping those eyes down the gap as long as possible throughout the throw.
Freeman.
And then you have the opposite. Joel kind of takes his eyes off the target pretty early and just kind of turns those shoulders. But he rips it.
Yeah, Joel's a player. You'll see a lot of forced over angles on really overstable disc out of Joel throughout the day, backhand and forehand. But he really has a wide variety of angles and shots.
But yeah, guys, we really can't overstate how hot it is. It's legitimately 101.
Second-ranked player in the U.S. Buhr.
101 hydration is going to be key today, and finding your grip is going to be troublesome. I know sometimes you don't even have a dry spot on your shorts on days like today, so whether you got to wipe your hand off, you need to find different strategies. Gannon doing his warm-up here on the tee of 1.
Yeah, Gannon actually told me that he didn't have a ride from Des Moines to Columbia, so... Oh, that looked like it was right in the creek.
Low, but he slips up onto the safe side, it looks like. Man, there's just enough ground play down there that he got himself inbounds across the creek.
Yeah, so Gannon did not have a ride, and his mom wasn't able to take him to the course until this morning at 12:30. So Gannon did not practice Harmony Bends this week.
And just showing up to do his job and trust his game. He's arguably the best in the world at that type of preparation, or lack thereof. Jake flips that over. Gannon hit that tree and fortunately stayed in bounds again. 2 close calls for him. Yeah, that's kind of the textbook shot you'll see out of a backhand on the second one. You just want a little bit of drag to the right, but not too much.
Do we ever see anybody go for the green in 2, Connor?
It rarely happens. I think you really have to put down such a good drive, and then even then, most likely it's going to be kind of a final round scenario where players feel like they need to put pressure on from the start. This is a hole that you know can eat you for a double or worse, so I think trying to go that aggressive and run one would prove pretty boisterous.
Prez playing the deep side.
Oh, okay. Gannon can't get squeaky close 3 times in a row and messes up arguably the easiest of the 3 shots on this hole. So this one, it does take some technicality still. Oh.
You don't think it touched that line up there?
I didn't. Where I was, I didn't have a great angle to see it hit the dirt. So
I do not believe it did, Joel.
I'm not gonna say it did cross, but from my angle, it at least came within an inch or 2.
okay.
So, you guys want me to go provisional?
I throw provision because it might look different when we get up there.
Okay, yeah, let's do.
It did appear Joel hit just below the line. I don't think he was able to get across, but as a player trying to get what he can.
The flag.
Yeah, flag's good with me.
So this is going to be circle 2. Look for his par after nearly going OB 3 times. Finds the OB on the 3rd shot. That's going to be a bogey to open his tournament.
Yeah, Gannon kind of tapped out quick, missed his putt there, but yeah, a little bit out of sorts there on hole 1. Hopefully he feels ready to go now. Obstructed looks for the locals, Hebenheimer and Presnell. And we will not be seeing a birdie here on our opener.
Yeah, and after further discussion, I think they decided that Joel did not cross, that he hit below that line.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was the right call. Glad to see them make it. Just gotta love hole 1 Harmony Bends.
Yeah, I think it's going to make the Dream 18 for a lot of people.
I think so too.
Hole 2, par 4, 655 feet. There's 2 routes you could take. A lot of backhand throws are going up this inside line with something understable that turns pretty quick, and there's one small path you want to try and land your disc on, and once you land there, you have anywhere from 270 to 320, and you're headed slightly uphill, and this is a daunting green. It kind of slopes from left to right toward that little cliff, and there is a painted OB line right next to the bucket.
Talk about another treat of a hole here. Jake going with that stand-up forehand.
This looks so
amazing.
good.
Oh
Whoa.
my god.
That's as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, it doesn't get better than that, you guys.
Under 300 to the pin from there.
And like Nate said, this one, it almost feels kind of like a merge between a walking path and a fairway. It's pretty narrow, so you got to be very specific to not have to navigate some kind of tree right off your swing on the second.
You're lucky. Hurry.
Joel pushing long, asking to get lucky. It's a strategy that works out better than being inside here for sure.
And he does get lucky, and he's back onto the trail.
Gannon going left side. Straight to understable mid-range, probably M4. Just a little high on that one.
Yeah, looks like it was drifting for him, and kicks off into the rough over there, and it's really hard to scramble from right here.
Yeah, from here most players will just kind of do what Gannon does. Throw a flex forehand maybe to the base of the hill and then chip up a 100-footer, but he still has some work to do. Yeah, this is such an iconic shot on this course. I just love this approach here.
Ooh, Prez just throws a laser from back in the landing zone, and that's right at circle's edge.
Joel flexing on, I believe, one of those gators.
I think Joel has the longest gator. He'll pull out a gator. Like,
That was
that's a
long-
300-foot shot
That was
right
a
there.
fairway shot for most players,
Yeah.
for sure. And yeah, that his comfort level with the flex line, I think, helps with some of that. Jake plays the backstop well.
Mm-hmm. Man, I love watching Jake throw. Guy just really knows how to spin the disc. Oh,
Gannon squeaked through to an open putt, I guess, since he does that stuff. Ooh. Joel squeaks out a smile as that one slips over the rim. Yeah, going Gator, second shot for the bird.
and Prez likes to bring that putter pretty low. I wonder if those rocks kind of got in his head a bit.
Yeah, probably changed his stroke or comfort level a little bit. Jake goes to upside down putt around the 15-foot range a lot.
Upside down. What do you think that is? Just
I don't
catches
know,
better,
I think it does drop into the chains a little better, but I don't know. I think Jake, he's such a talented player. I think he just, when his mind's in the right spot and he's making putts, he can play with anybody. And I think as he gets more and more comfortable on the green, he's going to continue to play good golf. Hole 3, par 3, change of pace. This is one of our first shorter technical holes on the course. There's 3 on this front 9 that you can throw a putter on. This is one of them, 262. You got to shape kind of a dead straight shot to get to the right side of the green here and not try to perfect it. Or if you do want to park it, a little tiny flex with maybe a overstable putter can work here. There's a couple different ways to play it, but either way, you want to slide in just right of this basket and do not kick down to the right.
Oh, yeah. Really well thrown. 22-footer.
Yeah, a little higher than he'd like, I'm sure, but plays a good stability and checks up on that side hill.
Yeah, this is a really tricky 262. It's like slightly uphill at first. It makes you get the nose up.
Probably plays in that 280 range or so, but yeah, just very specific line. And I think something I might like the most about the design of this course is more so than a lot of courses on our tour, we don't find players finding a rhythm or throwing the same shots over and over. Every hole kind of requires something different, and it's really refreshing, and I think it's part of what makes this course so fun.
This is a touchy shot right here. Okay, he checked up. You can roll a long way right there.
Yeah, not only is that steep slope to the right, but once you get beyond the basket, it goes down to the creek pretty quick as well. This hole does see some numbers here and there to take an early kick and a bad roll.
Oh, Gannon's on the board with a just dagger from 40 feet, straight death putt.
Yeah, one of the more scary putting positions on this course, so to see him make something like that kind of just goes to show where his mental game is at.
And Prez puts the death putt on the pole.
Oh. Yeah, just didn't have the pop for Joel there. Maybe that uphill stance kind of bugged him.
Back-to-back birdies for Jake. Yeah, pretty cool that he's on the card with Gannon today, considering their battle back in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think it's good to get to see them both back up here at the top where we left off. So here's a look at the leaderboard through 3. No one got all 3 to start. That's surprising. But it just goes to show how good and challenging this course is.
They call me Mo Lewis. Welcome to my Columbia. Columbia is a very unique town in Missouri. There's so many great local stores and restaurants and microbreweries that you can go to, and I love being here.
All right, hole 4, par 3, 288. Another potential putter off the tee here, and this is such a tricky hole. Completely blind from the tee, and it's just so hard to. You're throwing over this little crest of a hill, and it's hard to control the height and the speed of this disc to get close to this basket. We see so many pure shots end up like Circle 2's edge long. This is a hole that we see a lot of people pull out some creative shots. We see overhands and upside down shots. And
Yeah, last year we saw Alden Harris, our eventual winner of the tournament, play really understable driver on a spike anhyzer that flipped to its face and skipped off the disc. Like you said, you see a lot of creativity, whether you want to play kind of a flat to tiny hyzer release like Presnell with some understable, or kind of put a tiny flex here. If you throw a flat ground shot, like Nate said, you're going Circle 2 long, and you really have to get the nose to drop here.
Oh, that looked so controlled.
Wow. It is rare to get this one to check up before the basket.
That was
when
full
you throw
control.
it. Yeah, that was great. Pace was perfect. Angle was perfect.
Oh, and Joel's going super flippy flick
Oh
butter.
my
Look
gosh,
at
that
this,
is so
Connor.
beautiful, you guys. If you understand disc golf and you've tried to throw a forehand with an understable disc, that is so talented.
Man, I'm a firm believer, Connor, that we need holes like this. Like, we need little curveball holes that test this.
The game's not
speed.
just about how hard you throw and how long you can place a big driver hyzer. I think having touch, having specific shots, having the improv is important. I agree. It not only shows like a variety of skills physically, but also just the mental ability to adapt and change your strategy. They're upside down for Hebenheimer.
That's what it's for. Yep.
Joel going with a little up and down start. Bogey birdie, sitting even.
And what a pretty flick off the tee there.
Yeah, I wonder what he threw. That was masterfully done. Hole 5. Another really memorable one here, especially this tee shot. 572-foot par 4, not the longest, but the way it plays uphill on this first one really pinches your distance. This left side gap's probably the more flown gap, but that right side has opened up over the years, and it offers a good play as well. You'll see big turning backhands here for the most part, and if you can get to the top of the hill or somehow even crest a little beyond, you're going to have a touchy straight shot into the green. There's some flex forehands available to come back into that side slope, or kind of a straight putter depending on where you're at.
Yeah, how far off the tee do you think it is to the ideal landing spot?
I feel like power-wise, you almost have to get the disc in that 425 range to actually get the ideal spot, but distance-wise, it's probably only takes about 360 up there on the hill.
Yeah.
But it feels like a full fairway driver or like a distance driver for most of these players.
So that kicked pretty far left, but he's like kind of on that road right there. There's a couple options from over there.
Yeah, if you work left like Ganna did, there is kind of a backdoor approach that's a little less flown, but it's definitely there. Jake going back to that arrive he threw on hole 1.
Man, the guy just rips it.
It really does.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I think he almost can't throw too fast of a disc on this hole because clearing that hill and getting down to the other side, I think that's a happy place to be. Wow. Gannon displaying his skills with that stand still forehand.
Just threaded it, giving himself a putt. Oh, wow. Circle's edge.
Yeah, a little bit on the top side there. Gonna have a couple trees in his stance.
Prez putting one down there to 40 feet.
Yeah, we putting back up the hill, so good angle to give it an aggressive bid.
Yeah, really quality shot from Joel over there on the right side. And here's Jake. It's a pretty ideal spot.
Looks like maybe a slammer flexed over, slips through the guardian trees. He's got an open look.
Yeah, 4 putts for birdie coming up. Prez didn't get the pop on that one. Man, you can hear the cicadas just ripping.
Signs of the summertime, y'all. And Gannon, another clean putt, had to go to the straddle stance. That's a turkey for him. Don't look back now. High right. Good for Hebenheimer. Got the Bass Pro hat rocking. I feel like that's a very Missouri thing to do.
That's the same hat he's been wearing for like 2 years now or something.
Must be watching
Have
it
you
or
seen
something.
it up close?
It looks decent on camera. Reminds me of that old Anthony Barella and of a brown hat that he would wear.
Yeah.
Andrew has to clean up for his par. Would have been a birdie frame if he could connect on that long one.
All right, hole 6, 330. You have this initial gap off the tee that, I mean, the trees are like right off the end of the pad. It's really tough to, you know, feel comfortable and throw your normal shot. I feel like you almost have to throw a little sooner on the tee pad to kind of keep those trees out of your head. And you're throwing like a swooping hyzer. It's not just a straight spike hyzer. You kind of need it to glide out a little bit if you want to park this hole. And this entire fairway kind of slopes from left to right.
Yeah, it feels like as narrow as it gets and as quick as it bends, you really have to throw overstable and quite a bit of hyzer. But like Nate said, you do need to air it for a while before it gets to the ground. And then most of the time, this left to right slope doesn't really let you skip up to the left. So even the good shots most of the time are down to the right side of the basket.
And this is one of those holes where you can throw a pretty good looking hyzer. You could catch a tree and you could just like roll all the way down the hill. You could be looking for your disc for a while.
Yeah, I feel like you got about a 25 to 40% rate of good shots just kind of catching edge and just rolling down to that T sign on the shorter box of hole 7 there. Just really hard to climb this hill with the skip. This looks money.
That one a lot.
Get that skip.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just a bit wide there, and just shows how inside you really have to be here. And I think if Andrew had a little more height on his shot, I think it would have been perfect. Is that going to be the first not up and down purple A2 shot we've seen all season for Gannon Buhr? Find out now.
He's got a putt. Got that second kick. He'll have a 50-footer.
Yeah.
Wow. Really nice from Joel. He's great at those little forehand turnovers.
Yeah, definitely one of the best in the game with the forehand force over angle. Presnell just not getting the commitment on some of these long ones yet.
Oh. Kind of pulled that one up the hill.
Yeah, I feel like, especially with the uphill stance, going to that step through putt just makes the body mechanical timing tough. Gannon doesn't get it in the chains. He's going to have to settle for a bogey. No birdies here for us on the elusive 6th.
Yeah, we're going to play this one over.
At 331 on a hyzer release, you'd think we'd see a couple off this feature card, but this hole definitely is very specific. And buckle up, because we are getting ready for one of the iconic tee shots on the course through 6 holes. No one really shredding. A bunch of players have half the birdies, and a couple players at 2 downs. Hole 7, definitely one of the most, if not the most, demanding shots in order to score a birdie on this course. Par 3, 510 feet. The gap is small enough to make you think throughout. You got to play a dead straight shot. If you're throwing a backhand, maybe a little bit of flex can work if you can bend it past those trees on the left there. Big forehands play well here with the lower ceiling. but it takes a lot of power. 510 feet probably plays around 440 or so, but it's just so specific to hit this one and trust that you're going to get through the gap.
And you walk up to this hole and the trees, the way that they're framed up, Connor, you're like, this is too good to be true. It's like a perfect little triangle gap.
It really is. It kind of pinches more and more the higher you go, making it harder to get it. It's if you play it low and out there, it's safe, but you're probably not going to get a birdie look. So yeah, it really shapes up perfect for the shot. The forehand, though, you can keep it low and still get the carry. And if you have the power of Jake Hebenheimer, you can go long in the basket.
He just threw it like 550.
Impressive. A little draggy on the feet there from Presnell, and that's going to be a kind of a good reaction off the tree.
Yeah, he was worried that it actually kicked OB left across that road.
Gannon just yanks over the top of it a little bit, but yeah, finds enough airspace, gives himself a makeable putt. A little wide for Presnell, but he chose a perfect disc.
Yeah, this is one of the first holes that's kind of exposed to the wind, and the wind was kind of like swirling. It was like up to 18 miles per hour, and
yeah, it was some of the most wind I feel like I've seen on this course.
And it wasn't like a consistent direction either.
Especially once we get to the backside hole 13 there by the water. Oh. Just the effortless power Gannon gets is...
How's he not jumping those, Connor?
It
That's
never
so
ceases to
far.
impress me. I've seen it hundreds, thousands of times now, but it's very impressive. Jake pretty much has to choose to lay up there after going long on the forehand. 10% birdie rate here on hole 7. Definitely a birdie you're writing home to the folks about if you live in 1910. Oh, no.
No.
Firm off the pole for Buhr, and it
Yeah.
just spits him out.
Brutal. I mean, what can you attest that to, Connor? Just maybe a little too fast and a little too high?
I think from that range, he definitely had a little more pace than he probably could have needed. Yeah, you could say the basket could have done a better job, and it probably could have, but at the same time, I think he was a little firm for that 18-footer there. So I can't give full blame to the basket. Buhr finds himself at even.
Right, this is one of the holes that you'll see when the tour comes through, all the players posting their potential ace runs. Takes me back to a Zach Johnson ricochet ace. Do you remember that one?
I actually aced it the day before he did. First time I ever played this hole in practice. So
Wow.
that year it was just getting hit. But yeah, I remember that happening in skins.
Yeah. And there's a few routes. A lot of people are playing up the middle. Some people play a little hyzer around the right side, or even the Annie forehand over there. And
Yeah, I've seen that right side starting to get taken quite a bit from players. I guess if you do end up hitting one of those trees, you're a little further up the fairway and probably still putting. Jake playing the skinny hyzer.
now, is there OB down there, or is that creek safe?
Yeah, the creek on this one is casual. I think
Okay.
it's the only spot in the course where it is so. Which I don't hate, because the way this one dishes out some rollaways here and there, I think it's just fine.
Camera guy couldn't contain himself right there. The near ace.
Gannon flex on the A2, a little nosy.
Oh, he did, Connor. He went right through the
Yeah.
gap.
Jake asked for it to get lucky in. It got squeaky clean. Jake definitely trying to give that one a soft bid with this uphillness. He was probably 70 feet short of the basket, but almost equally below. Oh, whoa.
And
He just
Gannon-
squeezed around the left side of that tree? Okay, yeah.
Gannon intentionally keeping that one off the pole, eh?
Well played, Buhr. Ooh, low left for Freeman. He sticks for birdie. And Gannon, 1 down so far for the round. He's had some really good shots. He's had some barely off, but he definitely needs to get it going now if he wants to find himself in position to be around the top of this one. Jake using Andrew's equipment to tap in. As long as you ask for permission, it's all good.
You have to ask.
I think so. Depends who you're playing with, I guess. Hole 9, par 5. Only 684 feet. You're going to see that as a par 5 and assume this hole's really easy. And while it can be a simple-ish birdie if you throw a great first shot, all of a sudden, if one shot goes wrong here, it could be a world of hurt. If you can crest this hill with a big driver shot, maybe even skip a little bit left, you'll see some of the best shots end up right around here. I actually saw Silas put it maybe like 280 out from the basket here. It was nasty. But if you are out of position, you're going to have to just kind of pitch on this one. It's very specific, and there are lots of trees.
No, that just killed that shot. Left is no fun. Yeah, 684, Connor. It's got to be one of the shorter par 5s on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Arguably the shortest, but it really doesn't play that short. Andrew finds himself off left. There are some kind of small lanes on the left you can work, but if you don't find yourself in that big right side fairway, you're kind of asking for some fortune. Gannon really close to making the cameraman have to move there. Just caught those last trees.
No, Jake has this right side lined up.
Backside?
Yep.
Oh, gets it.
Asked for the
Oh,
backside.
come on.
Gets it.
Okay, that's
Checks
still
up.
good.
Yeah, that right side definitely, I think it takes away some of the danger of this hole, but it does make that birdie harder, and it kind of takes the eagle off the table. I think Joel's probably one of the more versed forehand roller players on the tour.
Yeah, that was really good from where he was at. He had a lot of early gaps in the way.
Gannon forced to throw flex forehand, kind of turfs it just a little bit, but it looks like he's in a position to still have a chip up for birdie. Jake's looks to be holding nicely.
Get down.
Oh, and that's kind of the last layer of difficulty of this hole. We have this tiered off green, a lot of elevation on the top side of it, and then it just drops below.
I mean, it came within a few feet of the basket, and it's honestly a tough up and down from where he's at.
Really is. He's going to have a miracle to make a putt from there. I think this one you can almost just land it circle's edge left and take a little bit of slide. I think trying to park this one is kind of a fool's game on the approach. Unless you're really short like this. In that case, then park it at will. One of those soft zones from Presnell, mitigating the ground play. Gannon's inside 200 feet. He's putting, and he will make good for that, most likely.
Yeah, it's a big advantage to have that. Trying to land your disc softly on the screen is tough. Oh, yeah, he's got to go to a full swing, Connor.
He's got to go. Anheuser
no.
catches some branches. He's still outside the circle.
This for birdie now.
And this will be Jake's first blemish of the round. He was the player keeping it clean for the longest. That one looked a little weird out of Gannon's hand, but I guess just kind of the downhillness of it, just getting it out quick.
And just that camera view, too. I loved that. I would almost prefer to watch the putts like that. It kind of gave it some good perspective. And yeah,
for sure.
He just nose down on the pole and hard, too. He's even after the spit out, he's not taking any pace off.
Yeah, Gannon told me one time, he said, if you ever get nervous, just putt harder. And it seems like it works for him most of the time. Here and there, the basket's not going to cooperate. But if you're committed on every shot, I think more often than not, you're going to be rewarded and play good golf. 2 down for Buhr. Really up and down front nine. Only 1 par on his scorecard. Let's see if he can clean it up on the back.
Oh, I really love this course. I mean, it's obviously fun to play, but it provides some pretty great viewing live and on camera as well. It's just, there's so much diversity out here, and Jake keeping it clean, 3 under. Presnell gets back to 3 under par. We've got a kind of Midwest battle going on here, and Bradley Brown from the state of Missouri shooting 6 on the front. Zach Johnson back at it after taking a little bit of time off.
Yeah, it's pretty tight on the leaderboard. Harmony Bends is such a treat, one of my favorite wooded courses in the nation, and so happy to be bringing you guys this coverage.
And from Connor O'Reilly and Nate Perkins, we will see you soon from part 2 of round 1 of the Mid-America Open.